What's going on, family? Welcome back to Israel's Movie Reviews, where we're going to be discussing today the long-awaited Batman. Man, the Batman. I was so excited for the longest time to go and actually watch this movie. And I'm here going to bring you my review, ultimately with no spoilers. This movie is definitely a must-watch, in my opinion. Starting off with the pre-production, man, when Robert Pattinson was mentioned to be the new Batman, I had mixed reviews. One, I've been following his career, from Twilight, but he actually did a lot of great movies after that. He's actually an exceptional actor. So I know the Bruce Wayne side was going to be taken care of, but was he a Batman? Yes, he was. I think this casting was perfect by Matt Reeves, who directed the movie. He directed such a flawless movie. This is a different take, an original take of Batman. You've never seen this before on film. He's more of a detective. He's driven, very brooding. He brings a fresh take to the character. He's a tortured soul. You could tell that this movie gives you a very dark theme, a dark Batman. It's very horror-like. And man, this new version that Robert Pattinson brings is dynamic. As Bruce Wayne, very, very solid. I liked him a lot as Bruce Wayne, actually. He's very different. He's not the Bruce Wayne that we know of, that bachelor who's very out there, who's very show-off kind of type of guy. No, he's actually laid back. He's to himself. He doesn't actually want all that in this version. He actually is kind of obsessed with fighting crime and making people pay and showing them and torturing them. And I thought that was such a brilliant concept. Robert Pattinson, man, nailed it out the park. He exceeded my expectations as Batman, and I'm very, very fortunate for that. It's one of the reasons this movie definitely succeeded. Let's talk about Zoe Kravitz. She's one of the best things in the film. I love that they gave her a fleshed out backstory, and you know why she does the things she does in the movie. Hands down, I think she's one of the best Catwomen we've ever gotten on film. She's has the personality down. She has these cat-like abilities. She has the beauty. She's sexy. Her chemistry with Robert Pattinson is second to none. There's a lot of scenes here where you just, man, you're just fascinated by her. You're like, wow. Sometimes you forget you're in a Batman film. You're like, this is her film. In many ways, she's definitely steals a lot of scenes that she's in. And at times, even though, she doesn't really have a moral compass, you do side with her at times, due to her backstory, which is very fleshed out. Matt Reeves, man, he knocked it out the park with a lot of his character development. Jeffrey Wright, who plays Gordon, man, who is not a commissioner yet in this movie, and I love that, which I think was really good to see, because you see the early relationships and chemistry throughout the film with Batman, and you see his dialogue with Bruce Wayne is not much. It's very odd, and they throughout the movie actually form that tandem. They form that relationship, and it's really good to see. Jeffrey Wright is a phenomenal actor, and I think he brought his A game here, and I look forward to him in future films as not Lieutenant Gordon, but Commissioner Gordon going forward. This movie, man, was a very detective story-centric movie, which we haven't really seen. We really haven't seen. It's very graphic, very dark, horror-centric. He's out there being the best detective in the world, right? And what I liked about the film is they actually show you, and they take the time. That's why it's such a long film. They take the time to show you what he does, what he doesn't do, and how he's able to do and maneuver Gotham City the way he does. The cinematography, the picture, the visuals in this movie were awesome. Man, I'm so happy they made this kind of tone for Batman. You can't make Batman in a very campy, happy way. You got to make it like this. And I'm very happy Matt Reeves really put his direction in this and put it to good use. I got a 7. Remember that movie from Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman? And Silence of the Lambs vibe throughout this film. It's very eerie, noir. It's like, it's basically a horror Batman, and I loved it. The story is basically based on the second year as Batman, second, third year, and you see him very green as a Batman, and it was a delight to see. You see him; he's very brutal. You could tell he wants to punish people, but he does have a code. You know, there's a specific scene in the movie where you see, you know, basically it's explained why he doesn't believe in killing people. You know, so you go into this film, you know, spoiler alert, he's not the kind of guy that wants to kill you or has to kill you. He just wants to beat the shit out of you. He doesn't believe in death. He feels like punishment is the ultimate thing he's going to give you at the end of the day. Let's talk about Paul Dano, who's a menace. He doesn't have a moral bone, but does have a reason. They gave him a solid backstory, and it's fucking fleshed out to a T, you know? You can't even blame him for a lot of the things he does, even though it's horrible. You know, he does go after a lot of high-ranking officials in this movie, as you see by the trailer. He goes after them in savage ways. But he doesn't do that for no reason. You see that he actually has a reason. And not to side with him, but if you're a normal person like me, you know, you do have a heart for him. It's just as he continues, like, damn, you know what I mean? Enough's enough. But Paul Dano knocked it out the park. He's very menacing, creepy. You didn't ever see a side of Riddler like this, not even the Jim Carrey version. Jim Carrey's version was very campic, comedic. Paul Dano is about his shit in this one. It's so scary that it's like, wow, is this a Batman film or is this like a real thriller? You know, love that about this film. Colin Farrell as the Penguin. I didn't expect this version of the Penguin on screen. He's a boss, you know. He hates being called the Penguin throughout this film. Even, spoiler, kills somebody for even calling him Penguin. But as the film goes on and it's paced well, he actually gets used to it, starts to like it. He's basically this kingpin, this drug dealer, and inherits the game from his dad, from his family, who is no longer around. And man, Colin Farrell is very, very distinguished as the Penguin, and he plays such a cool role. If you didn't know Colin Farrell, you didn't think that he was the one playing the Penguin. The costume design, the prosthetics that he uses, they killed it. They killed it. I think it beats Danny DeVito's design in many ways. Wow, so much to say without spoiling it. It's just crazy. In this movie, the second night gets the film going as we see the horror take place in this new iteration. Without going spoiler deep, you see what Paul Dano's, basically the work that he's putting in against all these mobsters and officials. You see what Batman has to do. You see how Batman has to maneuver through Gotham, because there's a lot of treachery going on. The ending scene in this movie will make you scream. When I saw this movie, the theater was so loud. It was unbelievable. I felt like I was back in 2019, 2018, when I saw, you know, Infinity War, Endgame. It was to that level. It was ridiculous. What I loved about this too is, if you know anything about the comics, Robert Pattinson portrays kind of like an Earth One comic version of Batman, which I thought was awesome, because we never got to see that on screen as of yet, and you guys are going to be so delighted by his performance. Alfred, my God, played by Andy Serkis. He's amazing. He's not in a lot of the film, surprisingly. I say maybe about half hour or so, but he's a British ex-military officer, which shocked me. They gave him a different backstory. He's not the Alfred that you think. Oh, my mighty Bruce. Hey, would you like a coffee? No, he's not like that at all. He's very tough on Bruce, very kind of brutal. You know, they kind of have that father and son relationship, which I loved. I thought that was very unique. You didn't see that much. You know, you kind of saw it with Ben Affleck and Jeremy Irons in a way. These were two older men already. To see Batman in this movie, who plays, I believe he's about 30, 31 in the movie. And you don't see this in the past films. So I think doing that differently definitely helped the film. And I thought it was awesome. And before I go ahead and conclude this review, we got to talk about Easter eggs. You know, without spoiling much, you do get a lot of Easter eggs, from mentions of maybe the possible Mad Hatter, maybe the Joker. Who's Stanley Merkel? A police officer? Or was that a setup for another character in the future? You get mentions of Barbara Gordon here, which I thought was unique for the first film, because Gordon is not yet a commissioner. He's actually widowed, which I thought was unique also. I was like, wow, they definitely took different liberties in this. And obviously, throughout the movie, believe it or not, there's mentions of Robin. So definitely look out for Robin in the sequel. They mentioned something about Haley Circus and this and that, and I believe having a Robin in the film will definitely help. Not in this particular film, but in the future going on. And man, I think this franchise is definitely headed the right way. This movie was phenomenal. Gave it a 9 out of 10 easily. And I look forward to seeing it again. It doesn't feel like a 3-hour movie, honestly. It feels like it just goes right along. The movie was paced decently. I'm not going to say it was paced rather well, because there were some moments where you're like, okay, let's kind of continue. Let's get this, you know, but they try to flesh out everything so that way you know going ahead, you know, what's going to happen. Why is this going down? And so forth and so forth. But you're definitely going to enjoy this film. I wouldn't recommend you take your children, honestly. This is not a Batman film for them. It's more for us. So definitely go enjoy. 9 out of 10 easily. Let's get it. Batman. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. And if you want more content from me, subscribe. To the next one.